Shohei Ohtani and Max Muncy got the day off. The Dodgers offense said, all right, we'll put up 8 runs anyway. Dodgers win the series, complete a dominant road trip. Lots to talk about, so let's get locked on Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Dodger fans, this is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks to our everydayers for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. So please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. If this is your first time with us, my name is Jeff Snyder. My co-host is Vince Samperio. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans, just like a lot of you. And we've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room. So we're not quite insiders, but we bring you the smart fans perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. This episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Game off. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with your friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go now, free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. And game on for the Dodgers. Now they actually get a break. They earned a break after a pretty dominant 9-game road trip. They went 7-2 on the road trip after losing a frustrating game to the DBacks on Tuesday night. They bounced back on Wednesday and said, hey, we can still hit real well. Even though Shohei Ohtani had the day off, Vince, and it was his first day off of the season, kind of thought he would at least get a pinch hitting appearance, but turns out they didn't need him to pinch hit later in the game. I assume he would have been available if they needed him. But Ohtani getting a day off, notable for a couple of reasons, maybe most notable that Will Smith was able to get a day off from catching and stay in the lineup. He had a home run and, had a really good game, hit the ball hard. All in all, not the end of the world to see Shohei Ohtani get a day off, huh?
Yeah, coming off a 3 strikeout night and, coming into a game where he's going to face Jordan Montgomery, and with a day off on Thursday, you kind of get a built-in 2 days off, get a little breather, whatever you need there. And it worked out because obviously the Dodgers offense made it work out, but also, like you said, Will Smith got this. It wasn't one of those where like you take Will Smith out of the lineup and then you have Austin Barnes, who did actually have one big hit, but you got to keep him in there. And yeah, Freddie Freeman got to look at a different spot in the lineup for whatever that's worth. But yeah, it was, you're going to have to get guys days off. Other than Freddie Freeman, you're going to have to get guys days off here and there every so often, especially coming off a 9-game road trip where, even Thursday, which is technically a day off for the Dodgers in terms of playing, they have the gala. So they're still going to have to, they don't get a full day to kind of relax. So it worked out, and the Dodgers offense, put it to him. Whether he didn't have to come up with runners in scoring position, and the Dodgers take care of it anyways.
Yeah, and Ohtani, I do think the fact that they do have the day off on Thursday was a big part of it, because it does give him 2 days off. It's an easy way to double the bang for your buck on a day off, and it got me thinking, because the Dodgers before Wednesday, Mookie, Freddie, Ohtani, and Teoscar had all started every game of the season so far. And obviously they weren't all going to play all 162 games. I think Freddie Freeman is going to do everything in his power to play every game until the Dodgers have clinched the division, like he has the last couple of years. And maybe Roberts will go along with that. Maybe Dave Roberts will force a day off on him earlier. But Mookie and Teoscar for sure seems like we will see some days off for them. Teoscar, I kind of joked the other day that I would be in favor of giving him days off against certain tough right-handers. He definitely has a little bit of that Yasiel Puig, or who was the other guy I'm thinking of who would flail at sliders? I can't remember who I'm thinking of right now, but there's somebody else recently on the Dodgers who right-handers who get breaking pitches. They just flail away. And that's definitely Teoscar at times. And so I would guess, I wouldn't be surprised at all if sometime in the next few days, maybe even when the Dodgers face Charlie Morton, if Teoscar gets a day off.
Yeah, the Dodgers aren't one to put too much stock into a regular season series. So, even though the Braves are coming to town this weekend, I don't know if it would cause them to decide, okay, we'll wait till the Marlins series to get some of these guys days off. Let's put, theoretically our best foot forward when the Braves are here. But I do think that they might do that. Realistically, if that's the case, Teoscar is one where being in against a tough righty, and being out of the lineup one time wouldn't really hurt the Dodgers. I don't think, especially, if Miguel Rojas is starting to climb the boards and making it be a little bit more legit that he is a better hitter this year. It's been a month, he's 292, not too much power, but he's doing the job, especially when he's playing and having him in the lineup against a tough right-hander, at least he's going to make contact. So it's very possible the Dodgers have enough guys to kind of make it work now. But I am curious. I mean, like I said, they've never put stock into regular season series in the past, but I do wonder if they'll put a little bit of stock into this one.
Yeah, they might. But also, I think there's some value in, well, let's not expose everybody, since it is the Braves who they'll only play them, 6 games this season? If that, do they even play them? Do they have 2 series of home and home against
they
them?
have 2 series with every National League team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, they're not going to play them a ton. And so you do have the opportunity to say, well, if a guy like Teoscar, who you are maybe concerned about him being exposed by a game plan or whatever. By the way, I remembered AJ Pollock was the other one I was thinking of. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they let him sit because I don't think they really, obviously you want to win games. And I remember last year before the Dodgers played the Braves, I said the Dodgers could sweep the Braves or get swept by the Braves, and it wouldn't make me any more or less confident about facing the Braves in the postseason because it's, it's different. And then of course, Dodgers ended up facing the Braves in the postseason because both teams got sent home early. And that kind of underscores the point of how the postseason is different. And, I always go back here. You weren't quite born yet, but in 1988, the Dodgers went 1-10 against the Mets in the regular season. And then they beat them in the NLCS. So regular season really doesn't mean much when you get down to individual matchups like the Dodgers. Anyway. So I don't think they're going to care too much about that. And I do think that Teoscar could benefit from a day off once in a while. Mookie's doing just fine. And so maybe they're going to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it when it comes to Mookie, because he's batting 370 or whatever and had 3 more hits in this game. It was just a shellacking in this game. Like we could have done a whole episode just on the offense in this game. Andy Pye has hit a home run. Will Smith hit a home run. Austin Barnes contributed. Miguel Rojas contributed. Chris Taylor was on base.
Hitting 2 walks.
Yeah. And so, everybody in the lineup contributed pretty much. And, that's the team. And that's why we were, even though it was the bullpen that lost the game on Tuesday night, our focus was the offense didn't show up because this is the offense, what the offense can be when it does show up.
Yeah, it was against Jordan Montgomery, who, was supposed to be one of the crown jewels of the free agent. He's had a couple good starts with the D-backs so far. I'm sure I don't know if Locked On D-backs to talk about this, but kind of how the B delay threw him off. Like he did warm up a little bit and then, come back and throw today. I don't know if it affected him, but the Dodgers got to him early, got him out of there. Didn't too much after that. They did pick up a couple runs there in the 7th inning, but that's something we talked about this before. When you score 6 runs in the first 3 innings, and if you don't score any more runs the rest of the game, but you win,
still
you might
a
be doing
good game.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Boom or bust applies to an entire game. If you score 8 runs, you boomed, even if 5 of them came in 1 inning. So, the other side of the coin was the Dodgers didn't allow any runs, and that's because Yoshinobu Yamamoto was on the mound, and he just doesn't allow runs anymore. We're going to dig into Yamamoto's dominant stretch when we come back. So thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. All you got to do, if you have a good feeling about something, place a $5 bet. If you're right, you win that bet. You get $150 in bonus bets that then you can use on anything. Maybe your riskier bets. So sure thing, put $5 on it and get your $150. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's let me try that again. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. This episode is also brought to you by Monopoly Go. All right, game off. We got to pause here to talk about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there is just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers you can trade with your friends to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robotic pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now, free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. We're back. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Especially want to thank our everydayers. If you're not an everydayer, it's really easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. And the best way to do that is to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. And then it'll be ready for you, waiting for you when you wake up in the morning, or if you want to check it out late at night when we post it. Either way, you could be an everydayer either way. You can also go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. It's a text message-based service. We send you our thoughts on news and rumors and whatever. You can reply to us, have one-on-one conversations. It's a lot of fun. Our third segment today, we're going to talk about a one-on-one conversation we had with one of our insiders. So check that out at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Also, check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, the two 24/7 streaming channels on YouTube from the Locked On Podcast Network. And remember, you can catch every pitch of every Dodger game on SiriusXM or the SXM app by searching for Dodgers. No game on Thursday, a day off, but when they start playing on Friday, if you can't watch the game on TV, check it out on SiriusXM or the SXM app. This game, though, Vince, Wednesday night, Yoshinobu Yamamoto dominated again, 6 innings, no runs allowed. I think his scoreless streak is now up to 15 innings. He allowed 5 hits, 3 of those to Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson apparently knows how to hit Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Most of the rest of the league doesn't currently. Since Korea, basically, I think his ERA is like 1.6-ish since that disastrous start, his first big league start, gave up 5 runs in 1 inning against the Padres in Korea. Since then, he's just been dominant, one of the best pitchers in the league, and his stuff is filthy. And this was a really good showcase, this game. Like, he had all his pitches working, had his defense working, like his personal defense working. And it was just another great performance for Yamamoto, and obviously getting a lot of run support finally. He doesn't usually get a lot of run support, but that probably helped him settle in. But a lot of fun watching Yamamoto tonight.
Yeah, one of those where at this point, once he gets past that first inning, you feel a lot better about how the rest of the time's going to go. And, this is back-to-back starts, I believe, where he didn't allow anything in the first inning. So, figuring that out. And then when you come back out for the second inning, you're up 5-0. So, you can settle in and feel more comfortable. And with someone like him, I do feel that comfort is better for him. He didn't have quite the strikeout stuff this time. 5 strikeouts is solid, not amazing, but he was able to get through 6 innings. And once the Dodgers put up 5 runs in that second inning, his goal for the rest of the game was to get through at least 6, because the Dodgers bullpen has been in a tough spot. They had to call somebody else up to have an extra arm up, and it was a matter of, okay, can get us 6, get us through it. we'll have the day off tomorrow. We can kind of reset, figure things out. And that's what he did. And, knowing that, they talked about a little bit after the game, where that was, key for him. Right? He knew how to pitch with the lead, and that's what he did. And he's not a guy that issues a ton of walks in general anyways, but I think he does feel more comfortable when he's able to put everything in the strike zone and try to make guys make contact.
Yeah, and obviously the offense was a huge help there, that knowing, what, if Jock Peterson takes me deep, okay, we still have a big lead. And, luckily Jock Peterson didn't. He just hit 3 base hits to right field, didn't take anybody deep. And Christian Walker didn't take anybody deep, which is weird. He must have forgot he was playing the Dodgers. It was just, there's definitely something to be said for comfort of pitching with a big lead. And it's almost a paradox that it's easier to keep the other team from scoring when you can get away with letting them score, because you can. I think most pitchers are actually at their best when they are just executing their pitches and not worrying about the scoreboard. And so, it's easier to not worry about the scoreboard when the scoreboard is heavily in your favor, and then you pitch your best and have a better chance of not letting the other team score. And it's, hopefully this will start a trend that Yamamoto will get more run support from his teammates. Do you think when we look at Yamamoto's last, whatever it is now, 5-6 starts since Korea, do you think this is the legitimate Yamamoto? Do you expect more struggles this season at times, or do you think he's kind of settled in?
I think he settled in. This is what we can expect more often than not. Obviously, there's going to be a couple more bad starts, you would imagine. A day when the off-speed pitches aren't working, and that's kind of when he falls into trouble, is if everything's not working. He doesn't. Well, one, he doesn't have command. Two, when he doesn't have command of his other pitches, his fastball is not good enough to be overpowering. It's one of those fastballs that he puts it wherever he wants, and that's what helps him out, and it plays off his other pitches, and that's what helps him out. But if he doesn't have those other pitches, the fastball is enough. So there's going to be days like that, and him being more comfortable, he may be able to get by without his best stuff, and that's kind of what we need. But from what we've seen, other than that one inning, this is all we've seen from him so far, and it's looked really, really, really good. And he's been pretty much the same pitcher, throughout. He's throwing fastballs about 38% of the time. He's throwing the split finger, around 20, high 20% of the time. Curveball high 20%, and then the cutter. That's essentially what he did yesterday. 39% fastball, 29% splitter, 23 curveball, a little bit more cutters. But he's been that guy, and this is who he is. And he's going to look good. And like I said, of course, there's going to be a couple of bad starts here and there. Everybody has those. But I think this is who we're going to see. Maybe not 6 scoreless every single time out, but, at least 6, 2-3 runs every time out.
4 of his 7 starts this season have been scoreless. Against the Cardinals and the Cubs, he went 5 scoreless innings. And now his last 2 starts, the Nationals and the DBacks, 6 scoreless innings in those. The Mets putting up 3 runs on him. They're the only team besides the Padres to score against Yamamoto this year. I'm excited for Yamamoto's next start against the Padres. I think that'll tell us a lot about his growth as a pitcher, knowing that they are basically the only team that's really gotten to him this year. His ERA against the Padres allowed 8 runs in 6 innings, and everybody else he's allowed 3 runs in 5, 10 plus 18, 28 innings. So, the 3 runs in 28 innings will definitely get it done. And so I think letting him get a good start against the Padres will kind of lock in for him. So, I got this. I am a legit major league pitcher now. And, he's also a rookie. He's, probably, definitely now that ERA is under 3, he's definitely very much in the rookie of the year conversation. So is Andy Pages, for that matter. Came up early enough in the season that there's plenty of time left for him to make his case. So could be
then he showed Imanaga to slow down.
Yeah. Obviously Imanaga is definitely at the head of that right now because he hasn't had any bad starts. And so but in the end, it's a long season and should be fun. Yamamoto seems to be the real deal, and that's exciting because the Dodgers starting pitching, when he is at his best, it definitely solidifies that rotation and gives them what they need. Dodgers have another starting pitcher.
Social media been real quiet ever since that first start.
It's weird, huh? Dodgers have another starting pitcher coming back to help solidify that rotation, and a different starting pitcher got sent to the minor leagues. We're going to talk about Walker Buehler and Landon Knack when we come back. So thanks again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick Luka Doncic, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 fantasy sports app. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB in the PrizePicks app for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. We're back. Thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Remember to become an everydayer by watching and listening every weekday morning, and make that easier for yourself by subscribing wherever you're watching and listening right now. I was looking at our YouTube stats the other day and saw that in the last month, only about 36% of our YouTube views came from people who are subscribed to the show. So if you're one of those people who watches us regularly but aren't subscribed, it would help us out a lot if you click that subscribe button. And if you are watching on YouTube, we'd love to see your comments in the comment section. That engagement also helps us out a lot. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to go be on the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Just a few bucks a month with a free 14-day trial. We have a lot of fun texting with you guys over there. You can check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, the 2 24/7 streaming channels on YouTube from the Locked On Podcast Network. And be sure to check out the Dodgers on SiriusXM and the SXM app. You can listen to every pitch just by searching for Dodgers. And we talked last week about the plan for Walker Buehler, and we kind of guessed that the plan would be for him to make his Dodgers season debut on Monday against the Marlins, even though Sunday he could, he would be on quote unquote regular rest, which is kind of turning into short rest as far as the Dodgers are concerned on Sunday. But we thought it made more sense anyway for him to debut against the Marlins instead of the Braves, and it became official tonight. That is the plan. Walker Buehler had his last rehab start on Tuesday, pitched well, and he will be pitching on Monday against the Marlins. And as part of that, Landon Knack was optioned back to AAA on Wednesday before the game. JP Fireeisen was called up. Part of it was they needed another bullpen arm, and Fireeisen ended up pitching 1 2/3 innings in this game on Wednesday. But also Knack, because he was kind of the odd man out here with Buehler coming back, since they have decided not to go with the 6-man rotation right now. One of the starters somebody was losing a spot because of Buehler, and we had one of our insiders, Stephanie Heider, asked about kind of the reasoning behind Landon Knack being the one who loses a spot, because the fact is Landon Knack has pitched better than, say, James Paxton. But the nature of being a young pitcher with options is that I guess I'll give a quick explainer on how options work. We talked a little bit about Chris Taylor and options yesterday. So just in case you don't know it, I won't belabor it too much, but 30-second version. Every player, once they're on the 40-man roster, they get 3 option years. And that just means years that they can play in the minor leagues while they're on the 40-man roster. And so if you play in the minor leagues, one of the things that people get confused on sometimes is if you spend the whole year in the minors, that still counts as an option year, even though you weren't really optioned to the minors. You just spent the whole time in the minors. But, once you're on the 40-man roster, they option you to the minors at some point in spring training, and you spend the year there. That's one of your option years. And so Landon Knack was just added to the 40-man roster this last offseason. So this is his first year on the 40-man roster. And so it's the first of his 3 option years. James Paxton, as a veteran, because once you've been in the league for 5 years, you can't be optioned without your permission, like we talked about yesterday with Chris Taylor. And if you've already used up your 3 option years, you can't be optioned even with your permission. James Paxton is a veteran. He can't be optioned. I don't know if he could be with his permission, but that's not really, it hardly ever happens, even though we talked about it yesterday. So Paxton is on the team unless they decide to actually cut him or send him to the bullpen, drop him out of the rotation. But with Knack, because he has options available, it's easy to just send him back to the minors, even though he probably maybe deserves a spot more than somebody else. And so with Walker Buehler coming back, Knack is the odd man out there, and not the end of the world. Knack pitched really well in his 3 starts, and will go back to the minor leagues and keep pitching well in AAA. And he's first in line if somebody gets hurt or they do decide to go to 6-man rotation or whatever. Landon Knack will be back. That's my favorite poem.
Yeah. And we talked about this possibility the other day when we talked about James Paxton struggling and how realistically, if it was based on performance, then Landon Knack would have earned the right to continue on in this rotation. James Paxton would have had to, find something else to do or find an injury to happen. But that's not the case. They're gonna, James Paxton is a veteran. They signed him to be in the rotation as long as possible, and that's what he's gonna do unless something actually does happen to him. Shout out to Knack. Like I said, he came up. He did pretty well. He went at least 5 innings in all 3 of his starts, one of those being 6 innings. And, we'll see him at some point again this year. With the Dodgers schedule the way it is, they do have a stretch with no days off in May, one, I think 9-game stretch or 10-game stretch. And then they have 2 Thursdays off at the end of the month. So they could get by. There's probably going to be at least 1-2 bullpen games in that mix, but they can get by with giving guys extra days off and moving stuff around. And we might even see Knack one more time this month at some point if they, once his time is up or if somebody gets hurt and they need a spot start, he could be back up. So,
yeah, he has to be in the minors for at least 15 days unless there is an injury. That's one of the option rules. Pitchers, it's 15 days. Position players, it's 10 days. But there's always an exception if somebody gets hurt. And so, that's on the Dodgers pitching staff. Somebody getting hurt is never out of the question. Joe Kelly's groin appears to be okay. And so, hopefully this is the last time we talk about Joe Kelly's groin. But, if that were to flare up, then, flaring groin. Oh, man, Joe Kelly's groin. But, so an injury could get Landon Knack back on the roster sooner than that if they needed him. But chances are he's going to go spend at least a few weeks in AAA and keep getting regular work and continuing his development because that's the life of a young pitcher. And that same principle applies to position players too. It's why, if it was just a merit-based system and you could just send guys to the minors back and forth all the time, Chris Taylor would be in the minors. Austin Barnes would be in the minors. But, these guys, it's one of the benefits of being a veteran and one of the challenges of being a young guy. Miguel Vargas has to wait for his turn, wait for something to happen. Andy Pott has had to wait his turn, and he's doing a good job of claiming that. But, we've seen it all along. It happens with every young player. Walker Buehler himself had that when he was young. He came up and pitched out of the bullpen his first year and, kind of had to wait his turn, wait until a spot opened up in the rotation. Cody Bellinger only got called up in 2017 because Jock Peterson got hurt, and then he forced the issue to stay on the roster. So it's not unique to the Dodgers. It's just kind of the nature of baseball that it's part of paying dues. And, it's something that if you're just kind of a casual observer of a team, it's like, okay, why would you send down a good pitcher when you have a bad pitcher you can send down? Well, you can't send down the bad pitcher, so you send down the good pitcher instead. It all evens out eventually. And part of the point of the regular season is to figure out who your horses are for the postseason.
Yeah. On that note, with Paez, Hayward was going to meet the team in Arizona. He didn't, still hasn't resumed baseball activities. So it's one of those where I feel like the better Andy Paez plays. I know Jason Hayward's trying to get back, but the Dodgers aren't in a rush, aren't in a need right now to rush him back. And, Pa's going to keep getting that extended runway. I mean, he started every game since he got called up. They mentioned that on the broadcast. So, it's hard to give a guy that's playing well to a day off. He might get one of these days. Like I said, maybe they'll use that Marlins series. Not that the Dodgers could very well lose to the Marlins, but it's one of those where you have a better chance of beating the Marlins with a couple guys down than maybe some other teams.
Yeah, Paez has kind of reached that stage where he might get a day off just for workload reasons. Like, oh, you're playing every day now. Okay, let's give you a day off, not because you're a rookie and you're struggling or it's a tough pitcher, but just because guys get days off sometimes. And I don't think we necessarily anticipated that. We kind of hoped that this was what Andy Paez would just grab the opportunity and run with it. And that's what he's done. And he's kind of solidified his spot. He's playing a good center field. He's playing good right field when he's not, when Outman's in the game, which this weekend James Outman didn't play at all because 3 lefty starters for the DBacks. I just forget about the DBacks immediately. Like the series is over. Like, what's their name? That's twice tonight that I've forgotten the name of the team that the Dodgers just got done playing an hour and a half ago. But Paez his Outman didn't play at all. He will presumably play a couple games in this Braves series because they face 2 right-handers and then Max Fried on Sunday. So Outman will be back in there, and which will mean Andy Paez in right probably, and he's playing really well there. It's he's been fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, and put another one over the wall. He's looking good, and I guess did he come up before that deadline? Like if he does win Rookie of the Year, finish top 3, don't the Dodgers get something?
You have to. I think it's 172 days that you have to be on the roster. So I would guess that he
wasn't there a deadline you have to be on the roster by? That's
and that's
holiday.
Yeah, it's the deadline is so that you can spend 172 days on the roster. But I think if I remember right, didn't Paez not get called up till a week or so after Jackson Holiday?
Yeah,
and the Dodgers season started earlier. So I would guess that Paez didn't make that cut. So if he were to win Rookie of the Year, and was he on enough top 100 lists? Because I know he's been on some in the past. I don't remember which lists he was on this year and which one he wasn't. And you have to be on a certain number of the top 100 lists, specific lists. So I don't know if he would qualify anyway, even if he did get called up in time. But you know what? Dodgers take a Rookie of the Year from Andy Paez, whether they get an extra draft pick out of it or not. So.
Yeah.
All right. I think that does it for us. You got anything else for today, Vince?
No. In case we don't speak again, remember this weekend series doesn't ultimately matter.
Yeah, and Vince probably won't be speaking to you again because tomorrow's episode, I will be doing a crossover episode with Jake from Locked On Braves, previewing this Braves series. Should be a lot of fun. Jake's a good dude, and talking about the Dodgers and the Braves and digging into this upcoming series. So that will be our episode tomorrow evening. Maybe even put it up a little bit early. Jake and I are recording it like late morning, and so I may just pop it up, Thursday afternoon, give you a little bit of extra time to get ready, some off day listening, and then you can listen to it again on Friday. You can make it your first listen 2 days in a row, same episode. But that'll do it for us for today. Thank you all for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Especially thanks to our everydayers. Please become an everydayer by watching and listen wherever you're watching and listening right now, and you can subscribe in those spots. Become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, the 2 24/7 streaming channels on YouTube from the Locked On Podcast Network. And remember, you can catch every pitch of every Dodger game on SiriusXM and the SXM app by searching for Dodgers. You can follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at VinceSince91. I am on Twitter at Snydog. Our DMs are open there. You can also email us, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or send us a voicemail or a text message to 323-863-LOCK, 5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good one.